moving on to our next movie, a short film that Jason reviewed previously on the website called The Mix. And here is a clip.
Lovely.
Hello, world. Hold off your horses a little bit, all right? Because we got a lot to get into, and I'm fucking hyped. Any of you listeners out there protesting my guess, I support your rights. I support your freedoms. I support your, well, no, not your cause, because I don't believe in shuttering people up based on their opinions, and anyone with an ounce of self-respect wouldn't allow themselves to be triggered by factual information. Everybody's got to fucking chill. Everybody's got to talk.
Guys, get your shit, let's go! What? Get up and follow me!
The Mix, a short film for festival consideration.
So there we go. I mean, that was absolutely banging in my headphones. That was such a good clip, but it really threw me right back into the film. Yeah. Short film, written and directed by Christian Lamorte. And yeah, as I said, Jason reviewed it on the website and he'd given it 4 stars. This is earlier this year. And I was really intrigued to watch it. The filmmaker had reached out about the podcast, and that was great that they submitted it for the show. So it's about a podcast. So they have a podcast, a lot more controversial than ours. And as you can get from that clip, they're going to have someone on the show who is causing quite a stir. And there is a lot of opposition to what they're planning on doing, what they're planning on saying. So whilst the podcast is being recorded, there is a growing discontent outside of the studio, and it looks as if the opponents to whatever is going to be said by this sociologist, I believe. Is it a sociologist? Or is it it's like a
psychologist?
Clinical psychologist, sorry. Who is talking about this IQ enhancing serum that's been developed. And it's one of those films where it's very much capturing the climate that we're seeing in culture right now, the dialogue that's going on about what you can and can't say, what happens if someone says something that you disagree with, should they be allowed to say these things, what's the responsibility of platforms in this situation, do they just let whatever else go on, or should there be some form of censorship to keep people safe? And The Mix is it's, as you heard in that clip, it's adrenaline fueled. It is it's not just like, because you could just easily have this as just a podcast, right? It could have just been like a little podcast clip, but they throw in this whole kind of like action movie in the background of what's going on. All these clips of people getting upset and viral things. And it was full on and really engaging. What did you think of The Mix, Brian?
I thought it was really, really good. I was really impressed with it. As you say, it's kind of packed, isn't it, with dialogue and sound effects and music. And it really shows, though, how powerful social media can be now, that messages can be disseminated so quickly and reach thousands in a matter of seconds. And I love the way the tension was being cranked up. Not too quickly. I mean, it's a short film, right? It's going to fill that space very quickly. But, the engineer, Becca, she senses the danger of what's happening because she can hear what's going on, and she urges him to stop the podcast. But the reaction gets more and more aggressive, doesn't it? Because you can see all the messages coming in, and they have an angry mob gathering outside the studio. And a lot of this you don't actually see. I mean, what's going on outside the studio you don't see much of, but it's all contained in that dialogue between the characters. It's really good. You've got to be impressed by this, the way it's put together. Really.
So the filmmaker actually provided us with a little clip, a statement about the film. So The Mix was born out of a frustration and anger with people close to me parroting headlines and trending topics without ever truly taking the time to investigate them. And even worse, changing their personalities to fit those narratives. The paradox is stark. Mindlessly diving into online rabbit holes distorts your mind and your relationships, but total disengagement may be even more damaging to the collective. Though its biting style and dramatic narrative my hope is that, through its biting style and dramatic narrative, my hope is that the mix both entertains and challenges viewers to ask themselves, what is my individual role in our collective issues? And it is that deep. It honestly is one of those. I love it when we get a short film like this that really manages to say something profound in a very short space of time in a way that also feels like a big budget action movie. It honestly did. I love the way that the characters were like talking over each other. It really created this sort of sense of impending importance. And I thought it was really moving.
Yeah. But I mean, even though the characters were often talking over each other, you could still follow what was going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can be distracting, right? But I mean, this is where the tension is growing, and that all the characters are panicking, aren't they, about what the impacts and what the effects are of what's going on, of what's happening. And the director's summary there, or synopsis, it's a good one, but you don't appreciate first time around how deep it is, but it is saying something really important about social media platforms and the way they operate. As a kid growing up, I used to dream about having that degree of control, of being able to broadcast in that way. Right back then, it didn't exist, but now we've got it, haven't we? That we've got this platform to voice our own views, but at the same time, you appreciate what the dangers could be when those messages are interpreted and twisted and given a different spin. It's really good. You've got to be impressed with that. Really,
I think the themes of it are really compelling. We've already mentioned, but like the hyperactive reaction of the age we live in, I think that's just something that even for me, I wasn't aware quite how much that would lead me to think about it after the film finished. I was still thinking things like COVID and stuff like that. When you're thinking about all the narratives that were being put out and how you went along with things, and like a headline would really shape how you thought about something. It's a really thought-provoking movie. But I also really loved the production of it. The sound design is brilliant. As you heard in that clip, the sound design, it just felt like you were on a roller coaster or some kind of moving train. It just, everything felt really palpable. Brilliant. It's like this sort of cacophony of angry sound bites going on that you're feeling that temperature gauge rise. Like you're watching it going, I can feel how this is, everyone's getting stirred, right? They're being stirred by this. And that's the sort of, that's the culture we live in now. And like the hosts are quite obnoxious. They've got this quite sort of like cocky smarm to them, as if they know what they're doing, they know exactly what they're doing, what game they're playing. It's obviously tapping into cancel culture, and should people get removed and stuff like that. But it's relentless. It honestly was so relentless that it's a bit of an exhausting film to watch, I must say. You finish it and you go, oh gosh. But that, I think, reflects what it's talking about, right? It's talking about that we have this like non-stop access to news and ideas and things that we have to we feel like we have to partake or we have to completely ignore. But there's a role there that we play as the consumer, which is a terrible word really, but it is that we are consuming these things.
And we're all buying into it, aren't we? We're buying into that way of life, because there's no way you couldn't. To live a modern life means that you buy into social media platforms. You buy into what's available online. There's no choice but to do that. But at the same time, it makes you think. It is thought provoking, as you say. But
and shout out to the actress who played Becca. Sophia Lucia Parola. She was like the grounding the film really need. Like she's the like conduit that you go into the movie as if to say, oh gosh, like she's trying to sort of make sense of it all, and she's worried about the reaction that's growing outside, but she's also conscious of her role within this platform, this podcast.
She's
great performance.
The voice of reason, isn't she? Really. But good cast. The guy that played the DJ, the presenter, was very good as well.
And
Thomas Philip O'Neill.
Yeah, he played Palermo. Palermo's Perspectives, wasn't it? Yeah.
Trips is fun, doesn't it?
You should do that. Actually, Brian's Perspectives on films.
Why not?
Yeah, and I think the the movie works on multiple layers, and I think depending on like your own core value system, the way you watch it will probably affect the way that you come out of the film, because it does tap into some really divisive motifs, things that are gonna. I think that's the point of it. It knows what it's doing. But yeah, great production. I thought the camera work was really good. As I said, the sound was great. The editing's really snappy and quick, and it's quite harsh at times, and it really keeps that momentum going. It is, it was really powerful film. Really enjoyed it.
Really high production values as well for an independently made film. So good on him.
Good on him. Good on Christian Lamorte. If you want to follow Christian, he is on Instagram. Christian Lamorte. We've tagged him, I believe, in some of the posts we've done for the mix. So yeah, should be able to find him pretty easy. And yeah, go and read Jason's review on the website. And there is a trailer there as well. You can watch the trailer for the mix, which you largely heard mostly in that clip. So it's really worth watching. I don't think the film is out. I think it is on it's on a password link. So I think it's doing like a festival run and that sort of part. That's where it's at right now. But once it's available, hopefully Christian will be able to signpost you to that one.